In the Kitchen with Eric Gardner.
Today we are making a goulash on In the Kitchen with Eric Gardner here at Kitchen Tune-Up. Goulash. What is a goulash? Well, that is a Hungarian word, of course, and it basically means a stew or a soup with some kind of meat, also with some spices, and always in a goulash, if you're going to call it a goulash, you've got to have the flagship spice from Hungary, paprika, in it. And Hungarian paprika, very, very good. The best two in the world, of course, come from Hungary and Spain, have a little different flavor profile. The one in Hungary, a little sweeter. So what I did here, I have some ground pork today instead of ground beef. I want to change it up a little bit. I saute that with some onion and also put some Italian seasoning in there. Love Italian seasoning because all of those herbs that you use in some recipes is all in one here. And of course some paprika. I have that sauteed and cooked through. I want to add the garlic, but I want to add that garlic after a lot of the other ingredients are cooked or softened, because one of the biggest mistakes you can make is cook garlic and it burns on you, and that's a terrible off-putting flavor. So if garlic burns, you can't take that flavor out and you got to start all over again, really. So really just about 30 seconds is all this garlic is going to need to soften up and become aromatic. When you start smelling the garlic out of the skillet, then you know you're ready to move on with the dish. Okay, so goulash also oftentimes includes noodles. So what are we going to do? First of all, turn the burner up. We're going to be adding first some liquid. I have some tomato sauce. And I'm going to use the fire-roasted tomatoes. I really like the flavors you get in fire-roasted tomatoes, and that should pair nicely with the paprika that I put in there. And you want the juice in there as well. Simply stir that around a little bit. We're going to be cooking these noodles in the liquid here. And there's more liquid to be had. Not only do we have the juice from the fire-roasted tomatoes, we have 1 1/4 cups of water. There we go. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, a little pièce de résistance here. Love Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce is one of the most incredible things because the flavor it imparts is just perfect. Kind of eyeball about a teaspoon worth of it in there. And I can put a little salt in there. I don't need a lot though, because there's been some sodium already in there, especially with the can of fire-roasted tomatoes. I might put a little black pepper in there. Actually, I'll do that at the end when I season it up. Let's go ahead and get the elbow macaroni in there. The recipe officially calls for about a cup and a half. That'll be good. Spread that around, make sure it's all under the liquid or in the liquid. Bring it to a boil. I'm going to cover it and simmer it, and you know what? By the end of Coda News at noon, this goulash is going to be ready, and I'll be ready to top it with some cheddar cheese. Cheddar cheese seems to go very well with all the ingredients that are in this particular recipe. It is that easy, folks. Super, super easy. And I'm just going to go ahead and put the lid on right now to get it boiling fast. Then it will simmer and everything's going to be great. Simple goulash, perfect for a weeknight meal when you don't want to spend hours upon hours in the kitchen. We did that a lot in November and December, didn't we? Whole family will love it. And using those fire-roasted tomatoes, using the paprika, using a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, those are the 3 ingredients that will really make this dish sing. You're absolutely going to love it. And I'll serve it up for you at the end of Coda News at noon. 65 degrees in Rapid City yesterday. Probably not that warm today.